What's poppin', peeps? It's your boy T Money up in the house here to review for a fill-in. I'm not sure who I'm filling in for Body Bags. But I wanted to do a slasher film that I watched last year and I just really dug, and it just kind of permeated with me. I watch it all the time. And it's an indie slasher from Brink Vision by the name of Lake Nowhere. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this film, but if you haven't, my recommendation to you is to go out and watch it now. It's awesome. The film, I'll read you the synopsis. It says, "From the vaults of the golden age of slasher films comes Lake Nowhere, a raucous, bloody romp which resurrects the thrill of gory midnight movies for an hour-long plunge into the depths of horror. Inspired by the dusty days of VHS, Lake Nowhere is preceded by original trailers and commercials, replicating the experience of watching a long-lost bootleg tape. When a group of friends arrive at a desolated lakeside cabin, they're stalked and murdered by a masked maniac, whose lust for blood transcends our world. This age-old tale of senseless slaughter quickly spirals into the realm of supernatural horror and classic monster movies as we learn the true power that lies within Lake Nowhere." So essentially what you have here is a slasher that takes place in the woods, mixed with supernatural horror, and kind of some zombie action, or some undead, mystical, I don't know, something about... Okay, so a group of friends arrive at a cabin, they're just going to party, drink, you know, all those good things, have sex and chill in the woods for a weekend. And so not only are they slashed and stalked by a masked killer, who kind of represents like your zombie Jason type, big, you know, like kind of like a sack-faced. Is he on? He's not really on the cover here, but that traditional big hulking beast maniac that lives in the woods. You also have this supernatural horror tidbit going. So one of the girls is walking her dog out in the woods when they arrive at the cabin. She comes across a gravestone, and it says, it's got like the scripture written on it or whatever, and she reads it, and I wish I could find exactly what it says, but I can't right now. But my understanding is that once she reads it, she brings to life this supernatural force in the woods that kind of possesses her, one of the friends, I guess, in the group. And yeah, without giving too much away, when they get to the camp, they all kind of go their separate ways, and one dude wants to go swimming, but it's around Halloween time, to add to the cool vibe of this film, because you've got pumpkins, you've got leaves all over the ground. So this dude wants to go swimming in the lake at the cabin, and everybody's like, nah, it's too cold. So he ends up going by himself. And then while he's in the lake, basically something happens to him when she evokes this, when she reads this scripture on the, when she reads this thing on the gravestone, something happens to him particularly, and he basically comes back, and something's not really right with him. We'll just put it that way. Something's definitely not right with him. But just, I guess what I really liked about this film was the whole feel. You've got your group. I love slashers, so I love, it's not really a wilderness slasher, but it's kind of like your slasher in your woodsy type slasher, like Madman, Friday the 13th, that sort of thing, mixed with cool supernatural horror in the sense that you've got like people being possessed, or people being possessed and coming back, and it kind of all ties together at the end. I don't want to give too much away, but there is a relationship between this masked killer in the woods and the scripture that's written on the gravestone. It comes together quite nicely, actually. So yeah, what I like about it is the atmosphere. You've got pumpkins lit, you've got leaves on the ground, you've got a group of kids drinking in a cabin, you've got a cool masked killer, you've got an awesome little dog, kind of reminded me of a Friday the 13th movie. And then the kids, you know, the acting's not the best, I'd say. So some of the cons, I guess, in the movie are, well, they mentioned this in the beginning, that there are, like, previews. They really try and give it that grindhouse feel. So you've got, like, your, how am I doing on time? Sorry. So you've got your you've got like all these little stories in the beginning, and one of them is actually very interesting. It's called Harvest Man, and I'm hoping that they do something more with that short because it's cool. But so you've got your trailers in the beginning. My problem with that is that the film's only an hour long, and that's including those trailers, so you're really only getting like 45 minutes maybe tops, and this story is so cool that you want more from it. So like when it was over, I'm like, shit man, this was so good, but so short. So it's not that you're cheated because it's awesome. What it manages to get done in that short period of time is amazing. It's great. But I wish it were a little bit longer. So I could have personally done without those trailers and that whole, you know, trying to pay homage to the Grindhouse feel, which they did a great job of. I didn't need that personally. I wanted more from the main story because I really enjoyed it. But that being said, Harvest Man sounds really cool, so I'm excited to see what they can do with that. Aside from that, really, the only other negative thing, maybe the acting's a little hokey, but it's to be expected. It kind of actually adds charm to the film. It's not so bad that I couldn't stand it by any means. I actually kind of enjoyed the acting. The dude who something happens to him when he goes swimming, that's all I'll say. He's really cool. I like his character, and it's creepy. The masked killer's good. There's no dialogue there from him, but yeah, I can't really think of much to knock it other than the length. So yeah, this came out in 2014. Sorry, I didn't mention this stuff. It was directed by, and it was actually filmed in upstate New York, which is really cool. And if you grab this Blu-ray, there's some really cool special features that discuss the filming locations, and so you get a real feel of like day one on the set, day two, that sort of thing. It's like a documentary, or yeah, kind of like of the days of the filming. So that's really cool. So let's see, it was released in October 2014, but it didn't come out until 2016. I'm doing a video, Ma. I'll be done in a sec. Let's see. Lake Nowhere, 2014, but came out in 2016. I'm sorry, guys. So it stars Ray Villanova, who plays Bonnie, Laura Hajek, who plays Alexis, Nathan Andrew Wright, who plays Danny, Melody Collegy, who plays Gail, Charles Gaskins, who plays Gary, and then Oscar Allen plays the maniac killer. And let's see, Paul Joseph Gagne, Clyde. Oh, Matthew Hawke actually plays the maniac, the masked maniac. I'm sorry. So the double was Oscar Allen. Not that that's important, really. So those are your main stars. It's directed by, I think it was Max. Let's see. Lucas von Scoy. Max von Scoy is directed by, and Christopher Phelps. And it was released by Brink Vision. You can get this, I think, for like $15. It's a nice Blu-ray DVD combo pack. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, check it out if you guys like your slasher films that take place in the woods. The kills are really cool. There's actually, so on a con, there's one like, there's one kill that's pretty cheesy involving a beheading, but it's almost like, and the guy's like just walking around like headless after and blood spurting out of his neck. Super cheesy, but for the most part they're practical effects and they're enjoyable. So you've got good kills, you've got hokey fun acting, you've got a great set, awesome setting. You know, you've got all the key elements that I think that make a fun slasher, a fun backwoods slasher. So mixed with the supernatural element, which is cool because I'm not crazy big on supernatural. I like it, but I really like it in this film because it's supernatural / undead. We'll put it that way. And there's a really cool scene where a dog gets eaten. I'll just say that. So yeah, check this movie out if you haven't seen it. Lake Nowhere, released in 2016 from Brink Vision. Catch you guys later.